Welcome on back. Hey, have you guys been on my Facebook lately? If you haven't, my Facebook page is facebook.com/beautychameleon. There, a couple days ago, I posted some pictures of some really fun. I was playing with lips. I've been watching a lot of videos on ombre lips, different types of ombre lips. And I went and played with my makeup, and I posted two pics. One of this look here, and the other one of a red ombre, kind of starting dark at the lip line and moving lighter to the center of the lip. And many of you guys are like, okay, video girl, video. So this video is for all of you lovely divas and divos out there. However, I thought it'd be kind of boring just to do the lips. So what I decided to do, this one's a little bit more, I'll say, fashion forward. Unless you work in a fashion industry where you can play out this look, this is more of a kind of a going out, a little bit more edgier look. But what I decided to do is create an eyeshadow tutorial, kind of doing the same thing, kind of showing you guys how you can take those fun, beautiful, bright colors and transition them down into fall, more dark, edgy looks. And at the same time, I'm going to show you how to create this lip. And thanks to SB Nation, I watched your Revlon Colorstay Whip Foundation review, and guess who picked it up? Me. I picked this up, and I will share how I apply this on in this video. However, you ladies and gentlemen like to see a review of this, leave your comments below, and I'll review it. And for those of you that may ask, I will put the information of all the products I use in the information box, but my shade in this foundation is 340 Caramel. So, with that said, stay tuned, keep on watching, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye! Okay, let's get started. First things first, always prime your eyelids, and you guys know I use my Urban Decay Primer Potion. I applied it all over my entire lid. Next, we're going to be using MAC's Paint Pot in Blackground. We're going to use this as a base to kind of black out the lid area of the eye. Basically, you want the color to stop about right here. And then you also want to get that color saturated in the inner corner of the eye, just by dabbing and pointing. And I'm simply just using a pencil brush for this. And the last thing we're going to do is create a wing with the same paint pot. So we're lightly just going to take a short stroke and wing it up into the corner of the eye. The wing should look something like this here, and then go back and make sure you connect it inward. So once you're complete, the base of the eye should look just like this, and this will be the last we'll be using Blackground. Next, using my Sigma E35 brush, which is a tapered blending brush, I'm taking MAC in a soft brown matte eyeshadow, and we're going to soften out the crease area of the eye. So take a bit of that shadow, and this is really close to my skin tone, and all we're going to do is blend this right in the crease just to soften out that very first shade and create a nice segue to the brow bone. So again, make sure you find one that's close to your skin tone. You can even use your pressed powder foundation that you use to set your makeup as a transitioning color as well. Once you are finished, the blending of the crease should look just about like this here, and we can move on to our next shadow. The next shadow is from Sugarpill Cosmetics, and this one's called Bulletproof, one of my fave matte black shadows. I'm going to be using a small dome-shaped brush. This is actually NARS number 12 brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of Bulletproof. And what we're going to do is start blending just the outer V of the eye, just to intensify the background we just applied. See how that's intensifying it back again? We're going to work in the crease, basically taking light stroking motions kind of back and forth like a windshield washer. And then we're also going to go in the inner corner of the eye. So simply you're going to dot it and move our way inward and upward, leaving this middle section open for the shadow we're going to be playing with next. So continue to blend, and once you complete, this is what the eye look should look like. The last shadow I'll be using is from Raving Beauty. This is actually her loose shadows. It's called Haitian Flower. It's what gives this really nice, bold, intense pink. What I'm going to use is a flat shadow brush. This is an eyeshadow brush from Sigma. They're E55. And what I'm going to do is take a little bit of that shadow, apply it on to my brush, and I'm going to use a little little bit of Max Fix Plus just to dampen the shadow. So basically like that. Dampening the shadow is going to intensify the color and make it go on more intense versus putting a shadow on dry. It's going to make it very soft. So what we're going to do is pat this on. So you can use a patting motion and begin to build up the color toward the center of the lid of the eye. So when it first goes on, it's going to go on kind of wet, so you got to work with it and spread it out. But again, you want to focus on the center of the eyelid area. So I simply took a little bit more and wet my shadow and I'll apply it toward the center of my eye. You can see how intense this color is getting when it's going on wet. It's beautiful. Now the last thing I'm going to do, just so I can get this eyeshadow to the intensity I want, since this is wet, I'm going to go back and add a little bit more of the Haitian flower and I'm going to apply it on dry. So make sure you tap off the excess, otherwise you will have some fallout. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the drier portion of Haitian flower on top of my wet shadow. Now lastly, just to blend out the outer corners of this eyeshadow look, I'm going to go back and grab my Sugarpill in Bulletproof with my small dome-shaped brush. And we're going to go back and blend out the inner corners of the eye, just so slightly, in the outer corners. And once you're finished blending out, the eye look should look about like this. Whew. Don't do eyeshadow tutorials when you're having eye allergies. Not a good look. Poor eyeballs. Now for the lower lash line, I'm going to line my waterline using my Sephora. And this is their waterproof eyeliner. And it's called Must Have, but it's black. And I'm going to use my Sigma angled brush. And this is brush number E65. And really all I'm going to do is line the inner rim of my lash line. So that's the very first step. Now we're going to go back to Sugarpill Cosmetics. We're going to use the black underneath, and I'm going to grab my Sigma pencil brush. And this is the E30. And we're going to take a little bit of that color and begin to softly blend along the lower lash line. Next, I'm going to line the upper lash line. You can't really see it, but I'm using Stila. This is their waterproof liquid liner with the felt tip point. I'm going to use that to line my upper lash line. Now this last step is optional. I'm going to go ahead and put on some false lashes. And the lashes I'm using in this tutorial is from Red Cherry. And this is the number 119. So I'm going to get those lashes on and I'll be back and we'll move on to the rest of the face. Okay, now that I have the lashes on, the last thing I failed to mention is that I did add a highlight shade to my brow, and the shadow I use from that is by MAC, and it's called Orb. And I simply use my tapered blending brush and lightly pat it to the brow bone or the arch of the brow and lightly dust it away. And again, I got the lashes on, and for the mascara, I'll be using my Urban Decay Big Fatty mascara, and I'll be adding that to the lower lash line and as well as underneath the upper lash line of my lashes to get them to blend. Not that I have that many lashes. And now we're going to move on to the next step, which is the face, and then to the awesome, killer, sultry lip tutorial.
Let's get started. It's face time. The concealer I will be using underneath my eyes is by Eve Pearl, and I'm using her Salmon Concealer in Dark. I simply use this to brighten up underneath the eye area. Let's move on to foundation. The foundation I'm using for the first time, we'll see, is the Revlon Colorstay in the new Whipped Cream Foundation. As you can see, my shade is 340 Caramel. To apply this foundation, I am opting to using the Sonia Kashuk blending sponge, similar to the Beauty Blender. Simply, if you're going to use this technique, you really want to kind of pat and roll with the foundation to get an even finish. In order to get a smooth finish, I like to use my Sephora Mineral Foundation Brush to smooth out any lines left behind for my makeup application. Now let's move on to highlighting. For highlighting, I will be using the Graftobian Hi Def Warm Palette 2. This is their Glamour Cream Foundation. This step is optional, but what I'm doing is going a couple shades lighter than my actual complexion to create the highlighting effect to my forehead, my nose, and as you see, I'm putting it to the top portion of my cheekbone area. Using my blending sponge, I'm using short patting motions to blend out the highlighted areas of my face. Be careful not to press too hard, for you will remove the highlighter. Now it's time to contour. Using my favorite bronzer, I'm using NARS Casino, and I'm simply using a blush brush or a dome-shaped brush to buff out the areas where I want a little bit more contouring and slimming to my face. This is another optional step, but I'm taking the same concealer from NARS and I'm using a fluffy dome-shaped brush, and what I'm doing is contouring and sculpting around the bridge area of my nose. This is great if you want to slim down that area or just really want to define that area for a flawless finish. Okay, it is color time for the cheeks. The color I'm going to be using is from MAC, and it's an oldie. I forget what collection it's from, but it's called Vintage Grape Blush. It's part of the Ombre collection they released. I'm simply going to be using the very top portion of the color just to add a slight dazzle to the cheeks, knowing that our eyes are pretty emphasized and the lips will be emphasized in this tutorial. Okay, now it's time to move on to the lips. Let's begin those ombre lips. The color I will be using is from Decay, and it's their super saturated lip color in Big Bang. Gorgeous, sparkly, beautiful hot pink tone you have to try. Simply just fill in your lips like you normally do with your lip color, so there's no rocket science to this, and fill it to the point where you get the most intense lip possible. Now here's a thought, if you don't like the ombre, the dark and edgy look of ombre lips, you can simply stop here. But if you're ready for some edgy lips, let's move on and add on the final step. Get ready, it's time for shading. For this step, you're going to simply need a lip brush, and if you're lucky to have Makeup Forever's black lip color, you can use that. Otherwise, I'm using L'Oreal, and this is their smoldering eyeliner in black. Yes, ladies, black. Begin to line the outer edge of the lips simply by taking the brush and skimming it across, and then begin to lightly pat and move your way upward. I'm doing the same, starting from the inner corner lip and moving my way up, and I'm going to begin to shade as I move along the areas of my lips. Continue to line and shade in till you get both sides of the lips somewhat symmetrical. And you can see it's starting to come to life. Now it's time to intensify that ombre effect. This time I'm taking the pencil and I'm actually shading it in directly on my lips, and we're going to begin to feather the dark color down to the center of the lips. To transfer, simply just pat your lips together and you'll continue to get that nice ombre finish. Continue to do the same thing to the other side of the lips until you complete your beautiful ombre shaded lips. Now we have the eyes and the ombre lips complete. I hope you all enjoy this tutorial and give this look a try for yourself. Until the next video, you all have a great day and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!